Hello, I'm Jennifer Goodman with Good Life Realty, and I'm here today with Fransisco Arredondo of North Arrow Studios. Francisco, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me here.
All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
I'm originally from Texas.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
From El Paso, Texas. But I lived my formative years in Mexico.
Okay.
So I was raised in Mexico, and then I came here for college to UT Architecture School, and I've been here ever since. So at this point, Austin is the place where I lived the longest, and I think it's about around 17 years, something like that.
All right.
But I was in Mexico until I was maybe 18 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what keeps you in Austin?
I just love this place. I mean, it's I've lived in a lot of places, and I just love Austin. I think it's a great community. There's a lot of influence from the university as well. So there's always kind of an element of kind of youth in there, incorporated into everything. The music is great. It feels like it still feels to me like a really big town. So I like knowing that there's somebody around the corner that I've met before, and we can just run into people, and I think I kind of appreciate that as opposed to kind of more of an anonymous kind of city life, I guess.
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
Yes.
Austin definitely has that spark.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about innovation and what you're seeing these days. What sort of innovation are you seeing in home building?
Well, a lot of the innovations have to do with energy efficiency and making construction more kind of sustainable. Construction is one of the kind of forces out there that really produces a lot of waste. So that's always in the back of architects and designers and builders. So there's a lot of innovation in that sense, as well as kind of more boring things, like just how do you keep a good kind of waterproofing on your buildings, things like that. Anything that has to do with technology, anything that there's a lot of things in a home that used to be wired in that now can be wireless, from security cameras, alarms, speakers, things like that. So that makes the design and construction a lot simpler in that respect. So,
It's great. So what trends are you seeing then in modern design?
Well, that's kind of fun. I mean, there's definitely mid-century architecture has been strong for a while. Some of the kind of ideas and elements of mid-century haven't kind of made it to the design language of today. But for example, something like brass. Everybody wants brass things.
I know, it's
now
made this huge comeback.
Yes.
And the old thing is new again.
Yes. So it's a beautiful material, warm tones that really kind of helps you give your design, be it commercial or residential, just kind of warm it up with something that designers love, which is working with metal and having metal details. We've done a lot of that with steel is always something that we use, but the problem with that is just it doesn't have that same weight. It doesn't have that kind of warmth that something like brass has. We all kind of, it's in the back of our minds. It reminds us of when we were growing up and younger, and different kind of design sensibilities. So that's important. And then pattern is a big one, especially when it comes to I would say almost kind of like Moorish patterns or a lot of kind of mix and match intricate patterns. In tile, that's been kind of a huge part of what people are doing nowadays. So just working with pattern, not being afraid of it, mix and matching different tiles to kind of get what they want. Concrete tile, concrete tiles, it's one of those examples.
What trends are you seeing in kitchen design?
There's two different trends. I think there's some group of people that are going towards the more kind of minimalist look, something that's just very kind of simple and understated, especially now that this has been going on for a while, but now there's hardly any home that is not designed with an open floor plan. Because of that reason, the kitchen's a big part of the design of the kind of living spaces, and you have to do something with it. Some of my clients end up on one side of the spectrum. Either they want to make a big statement with it, or they just kind of want it to go away. When they want it to go away, it's just a matter of kind of implementing very kind of minimalist type of design practices, like hiding your refrigerators, hiding everything. So very very kind of hospital-like in a way. And then on the other hand, there's a lot of people that just love to cook, and now it's more important than recently. It's just become more important, and people are more kind of from the health conscious side of things, or because they watch their food shows and they want to do something. So we have those other clients that have a lot of respect for cooking, that they want to try it, that they cook every day, which is kind of something new, and they spend a lot of money in their kitchens, and they think a lot about how they want them to work, because it is kind of the heart of the home for them. So the two trends is, you have the people that just don't want to think about the kitchen, and then you have our other clients that's where they're going to spend all of their time, and they're both kind of fun design challenges to tackle.
What trends are you seeing in overall layout?
I think if one thing that I've noticed, for example, with especially centrally located this residential design, is just the importance that our clients put on the car in a garage, meaning, or the lack thereof. So it's not as important to have a garage. It's still very important to have a place for storing things, but we're working on a lot of projects where they rather spend their money somewhere else, where they rather do something else, where they don't even need or think about their car garages and their carports. So I think it's a good indicator of just of how the city might be, and the people living in the city are becoming a little bit more urban in a way. So and it takes a big part of your design footprint to work around the garage. So it's a different way of thinking of our projects. And what we do in our office now is treat the garage more as, or that space that was allocated for the car, as more of a flex space, multifunctional space, something that could work from the basic things like storage, for example, to more kind of lifestyle-oriented functions, like a kind of open-air pavilion, right? This is Texas. We get bombarded by the sun every day, but we all love, in Austin especially, we all love to be outdoors. So we are turning these garages into now more like kind of like a carport whenever you need it, but more than that is just an outdoor pavilion, a place where to hang out. So in some of our designs, some of the elements of outdoor living, like the outdoor kitchen, barbecue pit, kind of move to that area. And I think it makes a lot of sense for the type of projects here in kind of close to to the urban core, because it gives our clients the kind of flexibility of what to do with the space.
Yeah, and what about the materials that you're using now for either that outdoor space or indoors? What sort of innovation are you seeing in that?
Well, I don't know if I don't think we have as many innovations when it comes. Well, or I haven't seen. We certainly do. I see more kind of trends with the materials that we're using. For example, I think like brick has made a huge comeback with modern design. Partly because you have a big kind of price range of what you can do with brick. You can choose something that's very inexpensive and maybe install it and then paint it afterwards, or you can choose something that is very kind of elegant and refined and use it that way. As opposed to with stone, sometimes it's difficult to, unless you're spending a lot of money, you're going to get your white kind of limestone. So, and it's reflective, like brick is reflective of modern design, mid-century design. It's been around forever, and a lot of people are starting to kind of appreciate the value and kind of almost have it in the same place as something like stone.
Interesting. I mean, because I grew up mostly living in the northeast, and
Yeah.
I mean, everything is brick.
Yeah.
So to see that now that is kind of coming into play here is
You've seen there's a lot of that.
A lot of brick now.
A lot of brick, a lot of that black brick, a lot of that painted brick. So I think it's fun. I mean, it definitely gives us more of a range of what to do with it.
Yeah.
Than working with stone. Unless you're working with really big budgets, you just don't know what you're gonna get at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
You need the budget. Would you say, Fransisco, that you have a signature style?
I think that we have a way of thinking about our projects, but not necessarily that we have a signature style. We work with a range of different budgets and different clients, and those two things can make every project 100% unique. Every client is his world. Every property is different than the next one. But the way we approach design is very similar from one project to another. Our client's input is very important.
Sure.
Understanding the site is very important. When we work with our clients, it's a collaboration. We're still kind of guiding the design, but it's very important that we make them that they are part of our team. For a lot of people, they only go through this experience once in their lifetime. So it's important to make it fun and enjoyable and the best that it can be. We have kind of tradition. We have a lot of our design is modern, but it's all kind of rooted in some of the kind of lessons of mid-century architecture. Outdoor spaces are very important for us. Creating private spaces, private homes is very important to us. If you look at, especially when you look at the residential work, it's almost kind of introspective elevations. They don't tell you a lot when you first see them, but when you walk into them, they kind of open up and they kind of reveal themselves. So we try to make a statement with our design through the experience of the spaces and not necessarily the kind of elevation.
That's the word that was really kind of sticking in my mind, was the homes you build really are an experience.
We try, yes. That's very important to us.
Yeah. Fransisco, what's not hot these days?
What is not hot these days? Oh, I wish you would have given me some. What's not hot these days? There's definitely, okay. So what's not hot these days? big homes are not hot these days. And I think it's been like this for a while. I think flex spaces are big now. Thinking of your home kind of as a kind of well-oiled machine, where you can see how the spaces can work together, how they can morph into something else in the future, as opposed to having your big homes where you like every room has a very specific purpose. So that is definitely in, and I don't know, maybe I just don't think of what is not. I don't know. Maybe I just don't think.
Is there a color palette that's not hot? I don't know. Making it up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, is there a color palette that is? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you can make it. You can. I think you can make it work. As long as you just think through it, and I think you can make it work.
Well, Fransisco, thank you so much for taking us through trends and innovations and a little bit about your business today. And it's been great having you.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Goodman with Good Life Realty, and I have been here today with Fransisco Arredondo of North Arrow Studio. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.